right, welcome in to another episode of TDSP here on this Tuesday afternoon. Got a great show for you guys today. I'm Harrison Wind, and I am joined by my guy, Ryan Koenigsberg. Finally making it on a TDSP, man.
Man, it's been a long time. This show has had many legendary iterations, but
I know.
I actually started to get jealous that I hadn't been on this one because I think it's been really good. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you, man. It's a show about whatever.
I love that.
Yeah. And I thought we could talk a little NBA draft today.
Okay.
I am just zeroing in on the NBA draft. Nuggets season is over. I've closed the door. It's in the rearview mirror. I'm locking in on the NBA draft. And, there comes a time in every offseason when you fall in love with the draft prospect. That happened to me at 10:15 a.m. this morning.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear who it is.
Yeah. It's not a CU buff.
Oh, now I don't care.
It's not one of the three guys. But there's a guy I love for the Nuggets. There will probably be more, but he's the guy I love for the Nuggets right now.
Are you teasing your show?
Maybe.
Or are you going to tell me?
Well, do you want to get into it right now, or should I wait?
You're the driver here. I'm just a ride along for the ride.
Let's wait a second. Wait a second. How are you, though? What's up?
I'm great. I can't get into details, but I just got done talking to the entire sales team for our entire company about a content idea that I have, which is like my magnum opus.
Oh my God. It's like your the Godfather director, whatever that movie was called.
Yes.
Megatropolis. Was that it? Megapolis?
What is that?
I think that was it.
Okay. So basically, yeah. I told them that if I don't get to do this, I'm gonna retire. So that's how much thought I've put into it.
Damn, that's a threat.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So I'm excited.
My expectations are high.
I think they'll be met, and it's obviously based around the Buffs.
Nice. For this summer or like for next season?
For next season. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it afterwards.
All right. Yeah, well, we got the NBA draft coming up. The Buffs have 3 guys projected to get drafted. 3. Cody Williams, Tristan da Silva, KJ Simpson. Have they ever had 3 guys getting drafted in the same year? No way, right?
I don't think they've ever had 2.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is 3. Unprecedented stuff here. I was just looking at the latest mock drafts. Cody Williams, he's now projected at 14. Sliding as we get closer to the draft.
I have a hot take about this that I'll roll once you roll out the carpet here.
Tristan da Silva, 17 to the Lakers.
Oof.
KJ Simpson, 51 in the second round to the Wizards. That's on ESPN. And then over on Yahoo with Kristen Peak, who I think is the best mock drafter out there.
Used to be a coworker of mine.
She's great. She's got Cody Williams to the Thunder at 12.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Family relation there. She's got Tristan da Silva to the Cavs at 20.
Okay.
And then does she have KJ? Yeah, she's got KJ 53. All right, what's your hot take about Cody Williams?
I think, with all due respect to Kristen, who probably has the actual NBA thoughts on this the right way.
Yeah.
I think they have that entirely backwards based off of who I would want on my team. If
You
I was
want
an
da
NBA
Silva?
team. No, I want KJ.
Wow.
Yes. I think that, so here's my thing on this. I have put my personal stamp on 2 NBA buffs in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer Dinwiddie and Derek White.
Okay.
Obviously Spencer, tailing off to the end of his career right now, but has had an incredibly successful. Derek White might end up being, finals MVP this year for all I know. And
could be.
I'm putting the stamp on KJ.
What do you love about him? Just his scoring, his hooper mentality?
It's that, but it's also the dog factor. He has that ability to just will himself to another level. And not to I'm not gonna knock on Cody Williams. We saw that a little bit from him in the CSU game when their backs were up against the wall and he just kind of went off. But I didn't get a chance to see that from him. And Tristan, while I love his skill, had a tendency to disappear a little bit.
Yeah.
KJ was just that guy that you could count on every night, even if he's not shooting well, which he pretty much shot well the entire season. He just left it all on the floor every single night, and I think that's going to carry him. He's a little undersized, but not that. To me, he's not that undersized. His shooting, which we talked about the other day when you were looking at the stats, is now like NBA caliber. And you combine that like with the defensive effort, he's probably going to struggle with some of his defensive assignments, but he's never going to let you down from an effort perspective, and I think that goes a long way in the NBA.
I mean, totally. He is a little undersized, like 6'1", 6'2", maybe.
Yeah.
If you're a backup point guard off the bench, it's probably fine.
Yep.
And I'm convinced his scoring is going to translate. He's got a great shot, can get to the rim, can pull up. I just trust his offense more than probably most guys in the second round.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the second round, if you can just get a guy who does one thing at an elite level, he might make it. And I think KJ Simpson could make it, absolutely.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I love that about him. And then the other part of it is you talk to any person who has crossed paths with KJ Simpson at Colorado, and they have nothing but great things to say about his character. Not that isn't true of the other guys too, but he's one of those ones where it's like people will go out of their way to tell you how much they love KJ Simpson, the person. Something
that's a must for me when looking at NBA prospects. You have to get better every year. KJ Simpson got so much better every single year, and then obviously this last season just like exploded on the scene. So I love his progression, and I like KJ Simpson. I don't like him as the best guy out of these three.
I think he ends up, that's my hot take. I think he ends up having the best career out of these three.
That's not a bad take.
Okay.
It's not a bad take. So who's two on this three-person list for you? If KJ Simpson's one, who's your second highest trusted buff?
Now it comes down to what are you looking for, right? Because the next two are like polar opposites in just the sense that Tristan, very polished offensive game, maybe a little bit. What do you think about his size for what he's going to do in the NBA?
What was it, like 6'8"?
Yeah.
I think he's fine.
Okay. Could probably get stronger for sure with the defensive matchups that he's going to draw. And then Cody is just this ball of potential.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I got, like, when we first got Cody Williams, I got so excited about it. And some of my friends, I'll just give him credit. Tyler Ziskin, who's, very dialed into this stuff, was like, don't get your hopes too high for a freshman. It just almost never works that way where, like, they're going to be a transcendent player their freshman year of college. And
right.
That I think that proved out to be true.
Well, especially when it's a five-star guy coming to Colorado. Mm-hmm. There's probably something off where he's not your typical five-star.
Well, and I think that's it, to me, came down to his shooting, and that's what I would probably actually have me put Tristan ahead of him. Is what does he do great?
Cody?
Yeah. Get to the rim.
The idea is he's going to be an elite defender. Okay. That's the idea.
If that's what you're drafting him for, then you're going to be happy.
Think about Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah.
I think that's probably going towards the best case scenario for Cody Williams.
And I think that if that's what a team is looking for and that's what they go out and get, then he would be my number two. My worry is that people are talking, thinking about him from a getting to the rack kind of slasher perspective. And that's what I really thought he was going to do so well in college, which he didn't really. In fact, when he did get to the rim, he showed off great finishing skills, but it's because
he just looks like an NBA finisher. He just has that, in his DNA.
But it's because he could never really get that close to the rim. You know what I mean? He's always fading away, reaching around, that type of stuff, which he got to the rim at will in high school. It got a little more difficult for him in college. It's going to get even more difficult for him in the NBA. So I don't. If you're looking for an elite defender who then can get out in transition and do that type of stuff, you'll be really happy. But I worry about him as being like a great slasher in the NBA.
Yeah, he's a project for sure.
Yep,
for sure. And I mean, that's why he's probably best going to a rebuilding team that can take him along really slowly. So this is interesting. I actually like Da Silva the most out of these three.
Okay.
Because the more I do this, man, the more I look at NBA drafts and go through this whole thing. A lot of times it's just about, can you play or can you not play? Mm-hmm. Are you a good player? Tristan da Silva is a great basketball player. He's good at everything. He can pass, he can dribble, he can shoot, he can read the game. He's got a high basketball IQ, good size, he can defend. I know he disappeared at times in college. Not as big of a worry for me when you're like an NBA role player. He's probably always going to be like the fourth or fifth option every lineup he's out there with.
Yeah.
He's a plug and play guy. I just think he's going to be good. I'd be fine taking him, definitely in the 20s, maybe even a little earlier. I love Da Silva.
I love him too, and I think that's what makes this such an interesting discussion, right? Because your point is totally right. He does everything really well. My question for you, and I truly don't know the answer to it, is how do the guys who do have a tendency to take a back seat and maybe not fully lock in for a game do in the NBA? Because it feels like in college, if one of your best players does that, it's so costly.
Yeah.
But I wonder if you can get away from it with it a little more across an 82-game season.
Yeah. Here's how I think about it with Da Silva. He's going to be coming off the bench. That alone, I think, allows you to just lock in a little more than if you're just a starter, you're penciled in for 35 games.
Right.
You can kind of ebb and flow throughout a game. If you're coming off the bench, you're like, all right, I'm coming in at the 3-minute mark. I'm going to have 6 minutes to bust my ass and play. And then I know I'm going to be probably subbed out. I think going from a starter level guy and scaling down to a bench guy, if you're as well-rounded and sound as Da Silva is, can actually be okay.
And that was what I thought you were going to say. And that actually excites me about him as an NBA prospect. And it's the old adage of like, don't tell me what a guy can't do, tell me what he can do.
Yeah.
What he can't do, in my opinion, is lock in for 40 minutes a game every night.
Yeah.
What he can do is, like you said, everything. He can pass, he can shoot, he can defend decently. He's got a post game, he's got mid range, he can shoot the three. And some team that does draft that way of tell me what you can do is going to end up falling in love with him.
Yeah, better not be the Lakers.
That would suck. You said the Cavs. That one would be. I'd be very happy for my guy
Tristan's got him
Tyler.
mocked to the Cavs. He'd be solid there. You got Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, some good score first guys.
Yeah.
What do you think? The Lakers actually would be a great fit for him. That's the worst part.
What do you think is each one of these guys' best fit?
Cody Williams to the Thunder would be great.
Yep.
Because the Thunder, I think, are just one of the best run organizations in the NBA. I don't think that's a hot take. They're just so good at everything, it feels like. Player development for sure. And he's be with his brother, just allow him to come along slowly. They don't rush anything.
And he's already friends with all the players.
That's right. They all went to the CU game.
Yeah.
And that team feels like a college team too.
It does.
They're all young.
Yeah.
They're all the same height. They just draft.
They're all
the
named
same
Jalen
height
Williams
guys.
or something that sounds like that.
Actually, yeah. Da Silva, a Lakers, a Warriors, a team that has good offensive firepower and needs a glue guy.
Yep.
That's why I think Da Silva would be a good, fit for the Nuggets too. And then, KJ, I think KJ could slot into any type of team.
Yep.
Because any type of team needs some instant offense off the bench.
To me, it's the Nuggets.
Yeah.
He's the perfect backup point guard, I feel like, who comes in, he can change the pace, he's incredibly fast.
Yeah.
He can score, he can, get, I don't know, I think it's to me, he's kind of the Monte replacement with better shooting.
Well, the Nuggets currently hold the 56th pick in the NBA draft. That's in the second round. That could be around his draft range.
Could be.
Be.
He was getting a little bit of first round buzz at one point.
I know. Yeah, he was. The evaluation part's tough. I feel like in the evaluation part, the guys like KJ Simpson that don't fit the classic mold of NBA prospect drop a little. And it's probably wrong.
Yeah.
But that just seems like what happens closer and closer to the draft.
Your point about can you play? I mean, everyone saw him dominate the combine games.
Oh, yeah. And I actually know this for a fact. I know a lot of teams, especially good teams, put a lot of stock in how you look at the combine.
That'll be great for him.
Especially in the 5-on-5s.
Yeah.
Like the testing and drills, whatever. The 5-on-5 stuff, like I know the Nuggets put stock into that. I know a lot of good teams do. They want to see guys actually want to play and compete.
Right. The NFL has the Senior Bowl for that same reason. You want to see how these guys look against their peers, the best of the best, who are all trying their absolute hardest in that moment.
Right. All right, let's hit a break real quick. Get back to this on the other side here. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. Bet365, that's where we bet here at DNVR. You can use the code DNVR365 to sign up. You can hit that QR code right there on the screen. Choose between two offers. When you sign up, they got a bet and get offer. Deposit $10. Place a bet of $5 or more. Get $150 in bonus bets. Or you can do a first bet safety net offer. Place a bet up to $1,000. If your qualifying bet loses, you get a matched refund in bonus bets. I'm sure Bet365 will have some props up for the NBA draft. We'll be doing a NBA draft show, of course, that entire night. We'll be live for like 4 hours. One of my favorite shows of the year. I love the draft, man. Like, I love it.
And I love the way we do the draft here.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a fun just night for everyone, whether you're watching from home or you're here hanging out.
Of course, centered around the Nuggets, but, we hit on every pick as well. So can't wait for that. Must be 21 plus, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Also, Factor meal kits. If you have a job and work a lot, don't have a lot of time to cook, Factor meal kits might be a great option for you. 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week. Always new flavors to explore. They have stuff for every type of diet. If you like to eat healthy, no matter what type of diet you're on, keto, protein, like whatever you need, they've got. They also have really high quality stuff too. Filet mignon, shrimp, salmon. It tastes like you're getting a restaurant style meal, but it's just in your fridge. Pop it in the microwave, 2 minutes, it's good to go. And it tastes great. It doesn't taste like your typical frozen meal. So go to factormeals.com/DNVR50. You're actually going to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code DNVR50 at factormeals.com. 50% off your first box, 20% off your next month of Factor meals while your subscription is active.
There's nothing better than having meals already set up for you, like before the week even starts.
Yeah.
Like you just know your Factor box is getting there on Tuesday, and you're like, cool, I have 4 to 8, whatever you decide. Meals already taken care of. Like probably going to eat out 1 or 2 on the weekend, and it's like you just have to figure out a few more the rest of the week.
And the best part is it actually tastes good.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't taste like one of those shitty frozen meals that...
It's not frozen.
It's refrigerated. Yeah, there you go. All right, back here on TDSP. You've covered the draft for a while, NFL especially. Mm-hmm. Do you have any past real big hits that you remember or misses that you remember from your personal draft evaluations? Because I was actually going back and I sent Tiff a couple that she can pull up in a minute. But I have my top 5 from the last couple drafts that I went back and looked at. Some hits, some misses.
Okay.
But I'm curious if you have any like big hits that come to mind when looking back at your past Broncos drafts.
Okay. I should have prepared, or I wish I knew. I would have come prepared. One that I was definitely good on is I wanted the Broncos to take Dak Prescott in the year that they took Paxton Lynch.
That was a good hit.
Yep.
I think we can settle that debate now.
Yeah,
you were right.
The other one, which didn't even end up being a drafted player, but it's the same thing I was talking about, where it's like I gave a guy my stamp, and that was Philip Lindsay. It was just like,
okay.
I literally tweeted on the 3rd day of the draft, I said, someone's going to get Philip Lindsay on their team today, and they're going to be incredibly happy they did.
He's got a lot of KJ Simpson qualities to him.
When KJ came to Boulder, someone that in the program said he is the Philip Lindsay of the basketball program.
Oh, that's a great line.
Yes.
That's a great line.
So that was one. I'm trying to think of some other ones.
I think you missed on Baker Mayfield.
I did. I loved Baker.
But maybe not your fault. Maybe his fault.
Or maybe the Browns' fault.
Maybe the Browns.
You know, you end up with the Browns. He did go to the playoffs last year. And he took the Browns to the playoffs for the first time in forever.
Second half of career resurgence. You might look okay on that.
I also missed, I think it's fair to say, on Kyler Murray at this point. Hasn't really done enough to justify that number 1 overall pick.
Who was the next quarterback in that draft?
Oh, man.
I don't know.
I'll have to think on that. And then one more hit that kills me because the Broncos, he was just sitting there for them, was Tariq Woolen, who's the cornerback for the Seahawks. He was a rookie. Maybe last year was his second year, but he's like 6'3", incredibly long, and ran like a 4.29 or something. And I was just like, this guy's just going to work. Like,
right.
And then he didn't go into like,
nothing I love more than a tall cornerback.
Yeah.
Tall and lanky cornerback.
Who's twitchy too. Like,
oh my God.
The one thing is they got to be able to, get in and out of breaks,
Yeah.
which sometimes is hard for the long guys. But I think he's already been a Pro Bowler for sure, maybe even an All-Pro. And the Broncos took him, or he went 1 pick after the Broncos, I think, in the 3rd round.
Damn. Can we bring up some of my past top 5s? Okay, this is from 2 years ago. Oh, no, this is from last year.
And to be clear, these are your top 5 guys that are for the Nuggets,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. These are my top 5 guys for Nuggets on draft night. Too early to say on Colby Jones. Jordan Walsh hasn't really played. He might not be good. Chris Murray, been okay with the Blazers. Hawkes,
yeah,
he's been good.
He's been great.
And Andre Jackson Jr. has been pretty good as well.
Hawkes would be a great example of the point of just, can you play? Like, you'd watch him in college and it was just like, yeah, this guy's really good at basketball.
Yeah. Are these devs?
Yeah, these were devs.
Can you zoom in? I can't really see. These were devs.
Draft dev.
Can you read those?
No.
Oh, here we go. What does that say?
Jalen.
Oh, Jalen Hood-Schifino? Is that it?
No, it's 2 last names, I think.
What does that say, Tiff? Jalen
Oh,
Duran.
these are bets.
Oh, these are bets.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Not picks. Jalen Duran, good pick, though.
Here's Dev's top 5. Sorry about that.
Okay, let's go to Dev's top 5. This is from 2 years ago. Tari Eason, Ochai Agbaji, Dalen Terry, Marjon Beauchamp, Jalen Williams. Some hits, some misses. I think we all had Dalen Terry on our boards.
Yeah. Chicago Bull.
Yeah, not great, though.
Oh, we got a Christian Brown sighting.
Christian Brown on Vote's top 5. Wendell Moore, yeah, that's a guy we all liked who just sucks.
Really?
Out of Duke. Yeah.
He's not good, huh?
Yeah,
I feel like I recognize his name. Where does he play?
Minnesota.
Okay.
Tim drafted him.
So he's definitely doesn't play because
No,
we didn't see him in that
not.
series at all.
And then this is my top 5 from that year.
Okay.
3 hits, Jalen Williams, Tari Eason, Marjon Beauchamp. Actually, I don't know about Beauchamp. Dalen Terry, Wendell Moore.
That's a good ratio, though. Like 2 hits, a maybe, and 2 misses.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yep.
I feel like most teams would take that.
Yep.
All right, do you want to know my guy right now for the Nuggets?
I desperately do.
You might know him because he played in the Pac-12 last year. Jalen Tyson.
Ooh, is he the scorer from Cal?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How is this guy not a projected first rounder? In as bad of a draft that this is. Put in 19.5 points a game, 6'7" guard.
Dude.
This guy is a baller, man.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
They had one of the worst.
They were a terrible team.
Yes. But one of the Buffs' worst losses of the season came against Cal. And it was at Cal, and I think we were up 20, and then he just got 1 bucket. He hadn't scored like the whole game.
Yeah.
And I remember he hit a little mid-range jumper. Maybe it was a 3. And I just remember the announcers being like, maybe this is what Cal needs to get going. And then he just went on an absolute tear the rest of the game. Buffs blew the lead, blew the game. It was a very dark time in Buff Nation at that time, but he was incredible in that second half.
I was watching highlights of that game this morning, and I put it in the Slack, in our little Nuggets Slack with the DNVR Nuggets guys. 10:15 a.m. I'm sold. That's the guy.
Let's go.
He's a little Bruce Brownish with more offensive game. Not as quick though. Kind of reminds me of CJ McCollum with how smooth he is on offense.
Yeah, that's a great comp.
And he's just like a natural hooper. He can just score the ball. He's got a great feel to his game, and he's big. He's like 6'6" and big.
So, do you envision him in the Bruce Brown role?
Yeah. I envision him as like a backup one who can then play with Jamal Murray. That's how I kind of envision him.
I love that. That's exciting.
Yeah. Will I have another guy that I fall in love with before the draft? Maybe. But as of now, like, he's my guy.
I actually don't think I knew that. Chase just said in the chat, Jalen is the older brother of former Buffs wide receiver Jordan Tyson. If you remember Jordan Tyson from the abysmal 1-11 season, he was basically the only bright spot. He had like a couple really big games. He had a long touchdown against Oregon, huge game against ASU, which is funny because now he transferred to ASU.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
Blew up his knee and basically took all of the fun out of the season because he was the only thing that we had to look forward to.
Yeah, so this guy, Jordan Tyson, transferred from Texas to Texas Tech to Cal. 3 stops in 3 years. He's, I think, 21, 22, so a tiny bit older, but I don't know how he's not projected in the first round. He seems like a pretty safe pick to me, and I think Denver could definitely get him at 28. So I'm in.
He just makes scoring look so easy when he's going.
Yeah. And it's not like the Nuggets need scoring, but they need a guy on the bench who can just make some stuff happen,
Yep.
who's got some juice. They thought it was going to be Reggie Jackson. I really think that was the idea. They're like, Reggie's the guy who can score a little bit, who can make something happen, and we got defenders around him. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
I think a guy in the Jalen Tyson mold, a big guard who can penetrate and score and open things up for others, could be good.
I think that, you mentioning that about Reggie, and obviously as a Colorado guy, we all have a soft spot for Reggie, but like, it's kind of crazy to think that where the Nuggets are right now, they're obviously championship caliber. Whether or not they win a championship is almost feels like it's decided by those decisions that are going to happen between now and when they play. Like, we know that Joker is going to be unbelievable in the playoffs. We know that Jamal is going to be clutch for the most part. Can they just press the right buttons, whether it's a draft pick who hits or a free agent, like, when they got Bruce? It's like that kind of decides it. If you miss on a decision like that, over the course of the season, that little role that they have kind of builds up and is the thing that could push you one way or the other.
And the Reggie thing was detrimental to their season, man. And I really think if the Nuggets had to do it all over again, they would not have signed him as the buyout guy. They just didn't need him, although they thought they might need him.
Yep.
And then, a lot of times in the NBA, it's a little handshake deal. We sign you on a buyout. We'll sign you as a free agent in the summer. And so now he's on the team again. But yeah, that was a rough one. I think Calvin Booth wishes he had that back. But
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, what type of player do you think the Nuggets should look for in the draft? You mentioned KJ, that scoring guard off the bench. There's been a lot of talk on our show about a potential big man. Where do you fall on that?
Okay, other than, the things that we've talked about with potentially getting a backup point guard or a backup big, there's something that I think the Nuggets are missing that they could either find in the draft or in free agency. And excuse my language here because I think there's only one way to describe it. They need an asshole.
Yeah, they do.
Like, they need someone who other teams hate to play against. And I think Christian Brown has his moments where he's like that. But just a dog, a guy who brings that energy, who is just gives them a element of toughness on the court that I think they were lacking this year.
Dude, you're right. Because Bruce Brown was great in terms of like his defense was great, had a couple big scoring games in the playoffs, but they missed how big of an asshole he was.
Yes.
They miss somebody who's just going to talk shit to you for no reason.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing about Bruce Brown that they missed. And I thought Christian would have that more this year. He didn't have it as much as they needed him to.
Yep.
They don't have anybody else who could have it, though. Like, there's nobody on the roster last year that I look at and I'm like, yeah, that's going to be the asshole.
And I think it was Vogt who was talking to me about this. He's like, Christian has it, but only when he's playing well.
Yeah.
So it's
only
like,
after a big dunk
yeah,
or something
exactly.
like that.
It's like that old MJ quote where he's like, "Are you willing to talk shit when you're down 5?"
Yeah.
Like anyone can talk shit when they're up 10.
Yeah.
They need that. They need a guy who's just out there, just barking, bringing energy to the crowd, bringing energy to his teammates. Like there is kind of like a thing when, whether it's actual shit talk or just, that type of energy, but like when one of your teammates is out there doing that, you almost feel like, oh shit, I got to back him up now. I got to,
yeah.
we have to help come through on this. So that's like the one characteristic. I don't care what form it comes in, a point guard, a backup big, like whatever it is, they just need that.
Yeah. I agree. Let's hit a break real quick. Talk more on the other side. Shady Rays. I popped into the office this morning. It's already like 80 degrees out. The sun is shining. If you're in Denver for the summer, if you're in Colorado, really no matter where you are, you need Shady Rays. Shady Rays, quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays, they've got you covered. Premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. And they have a style, they have a color, a type of sunglass for everybody, no matter what type of sunglasses you wear. Just go to their website, shadyrays.com, scroll through. They have something for anybody. They're rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. They're an independent sunglass company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames, crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. Hundreds of different options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. They even have shades in Nuggets colors, Broncos colors, if you want to rep your favorite team that way as well.
Buffs too.
And buffs, black and gold. That's a great
they have like
sunglass combo.
A black frame with like gold speckles on it. It's nice.
Damn. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use the code DNVR. 35% off polarized sunglasses. 35% off. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Use the code DNVR. 35% off your Shady Rays. Also, shout out to Illegal Pete's. So many locations across Denver, including one right down the street from us here on Colfax. They also have a new location in Colorado Springs. This episode brought to you by Illegal Pete's. Colorado Springs, now you have a friend in the burrito business. They have their newest location open there. You can get burritos, tacos, quesadillas, nachos, whatever you want. Illegal Pete's has it. They got a great bar at every location as well. Great outdoor patio, perfect for the summer. Their Colorado Springs location, located in the heart of downtown Colorado Springs. Stop by, check it out, hang out, grab some food, grab some drinks. Always a great time at Illegal Pete's. Illegal Pete's is your spot for burritos, buddies, and beer. Like I said, we're there all the time. Got a location right down the street from us on Colfax. Great burritos, nachos. You can get a burrito bowl, chips on the side. That's what I go for usually. So check it out.
Have you done reverse nachos?
Was that just stuff on the bottom, nachos on top?
Well, it's kind of a life hack because it's a burrito bowl with chips on the side, but you get 2 scoops of queso.
So do you just just order it? You say reverse.
Say,
nachos?
can I get reverse nachos? And then you just build your, like, they're like, okay, do you want rice? You're like, yep. Beans, yep. Chicken, yep. And then they put 2 scoops of queso in it, and then you just dip your, it's like.
So that's the only way it's different from a bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just get really upset if you ask to put the queso and green chili or your double queso on the side. Because then they're like, they'll
then
just
you're
charge
like,
you
you're
for
actually
chips
cheating.
and
Now
queso.
you're cheating the system
Now,
for sure.
Yeah, no, I tried that. They weren't happy with me about that.
Yeah, I've always been a bowl guy, though.
Yeah.
The last several years.
Especially with the chips on the side.
I know. I feel like at a certain age, you level up from burrito to bowl
I go
with chips or tortilla on the side.
I go back and forth. Sometimes
Really?
I just like really want to sink my teeth into a burrito.
But you know what I do? You get the bowl, and then you get the tortilla on the side.
And then you make like a little
Yeah, you scoop it. Sometimes you just want to like eat a tortilla, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
A nice, warm, illegal Pete's tortilla. It's pretty good. What's that?
Roast tail again.
Oh, yeah. Did you see this picture from... we were talking about this on the Nuggets show. Kale took this picture at Illegal Pete's when he was there with D-Line and Vote. And the caption is Burrito Buddy Beer with just D-Line.
Wow.
So
Buddy.
there was some
Also, it's-
controversy on the Nuggets show yesterday.
What's crazy is he went out of his way to change the slogan, which is burritos, buddies, and beer.
Right. And apparently, allegedly, Vote was in the bathroom when this, or
Wow.
getting a drink, or somewhere else when this picture is being taken.
Tough. Also, not like if I'm Eric, I'm also like, hey, let me know if you're gonna snap a pic of me so I can not be mean mugging.
Yeah. Looks like he either is chewing or mean mugging
Yeah.
while looking off into the sun.
Wild.
But yeah, it is wild how Kale changed the slogan of Illegal Pete's.
Yeah. He went out of his way to remove Vote from the slogan.
It would have been way easier to just say burritos, buddies, and beer in a picture of them both.
Yeah. Tough break for Vote.
Yeah, interesting. Really interesting. I'll have to see if there's any animosity on the show today. I don't know. All right, we're here on TDSP talking about the draft, the Nuggets. There's a big hole in the Nuggets roster at backup center. I feel like I probably don't want them to take a backup center, though, because I feel like it's the hardest position to hit on in the draft. It's just tough. And we talked about a backup center on the show yesterday, Deron Holmes, who was a guy I actually think the Nuggets like and might take if he's there at 28. But it's just so hard to hit on those guys, I feel like.
What is it? What makes it so hard to hit on center?
Like in the NBA, I feel like your center, it obviously depends on your team, but he's got to have such specific skills,
Yeah.
you know? Like if a great Nuggets backup center, I think is a guy who can, well, maybe I don't know, because the Nuggets haven't had a good backup center in forever. But I would think he's like an athletic shot blocking guy.
Right.
That can finish lobs. But then again, the guy we talked about yesterday, Deron Holmes, is like he can create his own offense. He can shoot it a little bit. He can pick and pop, pick and roll. Maybe that's the route they go because they just haven't had any success there. But I feel like we see a lot of centers bust.
Yeah.
That's just like, that might be wrong, but that's what I think.
I wonder if it's a little bit like because I was talking about this with AJ the other day. Quarterbacks and goalies in hockey. And I think one of the reasons is the peak of that position is so high. Like you have Jokic, you have Embiid, you have Giannis.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that, there's such a big drop off where it's like you don't even like a lot of these guys are just out there.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if that's what makes it so hard is just like there's such a high chance of you just getting another one of those guys. But the Nuggets, I feel like, are so hesitant to play a real backup center if he's not like awesome.
Yeah.
And that to me is why I'm kind of with you where I'm concerned about it. It's like, well, if he's not like a true hit, then the guy's just never going to play.
I know. We're going to talk about this so much this summer, but one of my big things for the Nuggets is like they have to change their entire thinking when it comes to the regular season in terms of the lineups, the rotations. Like we've got to stop playing one starter and four bench guys. Just stop it. And like playing the whole roster and not riding Nikola Jokic as much during the regular season. I'm going to say all that stuff, but then
Yeah.
in the season, Jokic is going to play the exact same minutes probably that he played last year.
I know. And it's like, you almost have to make a decision like what seed you're okay with.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing is like I almost felt like at times this year they were just like we don't care about the 1 seed, but then they went after it pretty hard at the end.
Very
and
hard.
Fumbled the bag tremendously.
Couldn't have been a worse fumble.
Yes.
Blowing a lead to the tanking Spurs.
Unbelievable. But it's like, if you go into the season just being like, we're okay with the 3 seed, then I think you can manage those things much better.
It's such an easy question. Like, yes, of course you should be good with that. And the Mavs just made the finals and might win the championship as the 5 seed. The Pacers were just in the Eastern Conference Finals. I know it's the East, but they were just there as the 6 seed.
Yep.
So, and Timberwolves were the 3.
Yeah. I tuned out Nuggets content entirely after they lost because
Good for
I was just depressed about it.
Great decision.
So I never got to hear any of you guys' takes about this. So allow me to just derail us really quick.
Yeah.
What did you think about playing Yoke 47 minutes in Game 7?
It was crazy.
Okay.
It was absolutely crazy.
I'm glad I'm not crazy for thinking that was absolutely crazy.
Dude, they played him like every minute of the first half, and they were up 20.
It's like, okay, it was almost like you won that bet. So now you get to rest him. And then they never took the ticket to the window.
Why would you play him that much in the first half and not the second half?
I don't know.
Like, if you're going to play him the whole half, it probably should be the second half, which they tried to do, but he was out of gas.
Which I wonder if the thought process was, okay, well, now we'll get him some rest, like a greater rest at the end of the third.
Yeah.
But then it started to slip away, and they were just like, okay, well, we can't take him out now.
And part of me, and most of me is, yes, it was crazy to play him that much. But another part of me is like, I kind of thought Yoke just might have that in him.
Yeah.
We've seen him do crazy stuff in terms of minutes and just willing himself across the finish line before.
Yeah.
Part of me was like, yeah, he'll be able to play the whole game. And it just didn't happen.
And that's what made it so painful to watch him, like, deteriorate as the game was going on. It's like, oh shit, he doesn't have it. All right, sorry for opening up old wounds.
No, we can keep talking about it.
It was, that was very, very hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's like when he normally turns it on to full blast and saves the Nuggets, he didn't have full blast.
You were waiting for it and waiting for it. We were even on the watch along. Me and D-Line thought this. We thought, because Jamal Murray played so well in the first half, we thought, okay, Yoke's saving something for a classic third quarter takeover.
Yeah.
And we were waiting for it and waiting for it and waiting for it, and it never came.
Yep. Because he was tired.
Yeah. But still, part of me thought it's Nikola Jokic.
Right, he'll dig deep enough.
He'll dig deep enough.
Yep.
Yeah. What else are you curious about with the Nuggets this offseason? What else are you wanting to find out about the direction they're going?
I guess it's just the question of, first of all, is KCP realistic?
Like, he should be. They have to bring back KCP. I'm very worried about next season if they don't.
And that's my big question is, like, if you don't have KCP, I think it would be hard to make a case against the fact that you won a championship, your roster got worse the next year, and then your roster got even worse the year after that. Like, counting on Christian Brown or Peyton Watson to make that leap is such a huge risk, such a huge gamble in a championship window. You can't. I just feel like you can't afford to let your roster get worse 2 years in a row after winning a championship.
Yeah.
This should be like a year where you're like, now we're going to try to get it back up to the level where it was. And I know obviously there's restrictions from that, but
what if a team offers KCP $30 million a year?
I mean,
$30 million for 4 years. I don't think anybody will, but
like you just said it. Don't you have to keep KCP?
You do.
If you're serious about winning a championship next year?
You do. You absolutely do.
Is there any chance of a Bruce Brown reunion?
1%.
Okay.
He's making, like, Toronto's going to pick up his team option. He's making $23 million. To trade for him, it would need to be, $23 million going out, which is Michael Porter, and I just don't think they're going to do that.
No. And then I guess my last big question is it too early or is it time to abandon the idea of Project Dynasty? I'm asking you the hard ones here.
I'm not abandoning it. I might even double down on it. Look, I think they need a veteran guy. They need to bring in one guy this offseason, a Gordon Hayward type, a Dario Saric type. They need a guy, one guy. After that, I think you can still roll with Project Dynasty because Christian Brown, I think, is already certified.
Yeah.
No, he's already a guy, trusted playoff guy. Peyton Watson still has to get there. It's a huge summer for him. I feel like a lot of the Nuggets season depends on Peyton Watson leveling up.
Yeah.
And then I still really love Strother. I love Julian Strother. And I feel like he's going to play a ton of minutes next year. So I'm not out on Project Dynasty. I think a lot of people are.
Yeah.
And part of me can't blame you if you are because it's a bold strategy. It's kind of the higher risk, higher reward strategy. But I still believe in it.
Okay. I go back and forth because I think it's so easy to talk yourself into needing to change the plan.
Yeah.
When really all that happened, and maybe the only reason the Nuggets aren't winning a championship this year is because they somehow lost their ability to shoot the ball in the second half of a game 7.
Right.
Like if they just make some shots in the second half of that game, are we like planning the parade right now?
Could be. You never know.
We might be, and so then it's like you didn't need to abandon anything because a kind of a fluky thing happened. You would like to have never had to get to a game 7 where that could happen, but I think there's a chance that we're literally waving a Project Dynasty banner around right now, talking about.
I'll be waving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Talking about that if they just figured out how to shoot the ball in the second half.
Yeah, and that's why everybody that's like, we need to trade Michael Porter, we need to trade Jamal Murray. It's crazy.
That seems
it's
crazy.
It's absolutely crazy because the Timberwolves, quote unquote, built a team to beat the Nuggets and Nikola Jokic. And Nikola Jokic still averaged 29, 11 and a half, and 8.
Yep.
And played what I think was maybe the best game of his career
Yep.
in game 5.
I know.
And if Michael Porter and KCP hit a couple more threes, they win the series.
Exactly.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I know.
All around.
Nuggets and Avs. What ifs?
I was out of the country wedding planning, and in that period, both teams went out of the playoffs.
Dude.
That was such a sad Denver to return to.
I'm guessing the wedding planning suffered.
Honestly, the wedding planning saved my sanity.
Okay.
Because it was like something else to think about and focus on rather than just like sitting on Twitter scrolling and being sad.
Would you prefer to watch a Nuggets playoff loss in the bar or like on a TV by yourself in a weird location?
So I got both experiences. Well, we watched the Avs lose from a bar in Mexico, which was so funny. Like I couldn't help but laugh because we're in this bar and there's like a mariachi band playing as I'm literally like watching my soul leave my body as they lose in double overtime. And I was
anybody else watching the game with you?
Allie. Like everyone's like dancing and drinking tequila and like this band is just having the most merry music and I'm
you're
just like
locked in on Reggie Jackson.
and yes, and I'm just so sad. Well then that was the Avs. And then the Nuggets we just did at home. But hopefully there's no chance this person sees it. One of my parents' friends was just talking my ear off the entire game.
Jesus Christ.
I literally told my mom, I was like, look, your friends can come over, but please just tell them like not to talk to me.
They were probably trying to tell you they should trade Michael Porter
No,
and Jamal Murray.
it was like even worse than that. It was just like, man, this big guy is really struggling. And I was just like, oh my God.
This Jokic dude.
Yes, no, that's
is he Russian?
It was so hard. I was like, someone save me from this. This is my literal nightmare.
Yeah. I would probably prefer to watch a big playoff loss in the Mexico location.
Yeah.
I can just be in my thoughts by myself. I don't have anybody talking to me.
Yep. And it was just not like I said, it's way easier when you're like not at home to just get away from Twitter. Like I didn't have to come into the office the next day and like see everyone's long faces. And
I know.
Hear all the like. Just now was the first time I've talked with anyone about the 47-minute thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've fully processed it now.
You have to walk into the office and Andre's just there being like, dude, what happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, well, let me rehash this for you. I don't know. Anything more about the draft you have on your mind?
Nope. You got
anything you have on your mind at all?
I'm thinking a lot about CU football and college football video game. It's a lot of my thoughts these days.
I talked with Jake on the show about that a few weeks ago. He said you guys might just play it for an episode of the DNVR Buffs podcast, a game you and him.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
We could do it in the way of like we're streaming us playing.
Yeah.
And just talking about the Buffs.
Right.
Or we could just do it where like we hook up a Xbox to the TV right there and like we're just playing during the show.
I think you should just play it during the show and just have half the screen on the game and then two boxes with just you and him.
I like that. There, to me, like, not to get into a whole like our inside baseball of like our company and that thing, but like, there's such a big opportunity in the college football 25 content space. Like, this hasn't happened in such a long time. Every corner of the gaming market is kind of, or every corner of the gaming market is kind of covered. Like, people have been dominating Madden content forever.
Right.
Like, this is just a brand new game where it's like almost everyone's starting from square one.
Yeah.
Of like trying to create cool content
That
and
really
become like
never
the trusted
happens,
person.
you know?
No, it doesn't.
Because every video game that comes out with sports especially, it's just, NBA 22, 23, 24.
Right. And like the leading Twitch streamers or whoever has like the best YouTube content about it have just existed for 10 years.
That is true.
So I'm excited about that.
That's interesting. I haven't played video games in like 10 years.
I guess we're going on a video games thing. I just advanced to the DNVR Madden League Super Bowl.
Yeah.
For I think the 13th or 14th time. I've won 8. So I'm going for big number 9.
Wow. They say dynasties are dead.
I know.
Here's a question. Do you like parity in the NBA? Because this new CBA that's in now, with all the financial implications and stuff, the league wants a new champion every year. Like, that would be their dream. They're trying to make keeping together super teams really hard by making you pay all these luxury taxes and even taking away draft picks in the second round if you have a payroll at a certain height. Do you like parity or do you like dynasties?
I mean, to me, there's a perfect in between that I think is like league nirvana, which is like there are 4-ish teams that can all like win it each year, or maybe you can even get up to 6. And they're like, there's these repeat battles.
Sure.
Where it's like you're building these, like the best sports rivalries are built in the highest stakes of games. So it's like if the Nuggets and Timberwolves play in the Western Conference Finals next year, like it'll be so intense. I went into the Timberwolves series being like, this team's pretty unhateable. And I walked away hating them. Mm-hmm. And if we play them again, I'll hate them even more. Like, though, that's, it's like Manning and Brady in the playoffs. Like, it's funny because the NFL parades their parity, but in the end, when it gets down to it, it usually shakes out as the best quarterbacks are playing each other late. Yep. So I think that's the best way of doing it. It's like you want every regular season game to be a little bit of a coin flip. You don't want too many bottom dwellers. And then you want like repeat playoff matchups each year that build real rivalries.
I love that because I can't wait for Nuggets Timberwolves next season. That's going to be crazy because it's 1-1 now.
Yep.
I can't wait for that.
Need McDaniels to punch a wall again before the series.
Yeah. That'd be nice. Let's end with a couple of these questions in the chat. Diallo Thompson. Harrison, my question for you is next year Jamal Murray's biggest season as far as expectations? He's going to have a ton of doubters. He's going to have so many doubters, and I feel like that's something he thrives off of. when he's the underdog and people are downing him and whatnot. There is a lot of pressure on him, and in terms of like expectations, probably 2 years removed from the ACL.
Yep.
I gotta think next year is the biggest year for him expectations wise.
3 years removed now?
Next year will be the third year, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's got to be the All-Star season, right? Or is he just always going to be a non-All-Star guy who is a playoff riser? Which is fine with me.
It would really help Nikola Jokic out a lot if he was an All-Star.
Yeah, it would.
That would really help him out a lot. But I feel like he can get better, a lot better, and still not be an All-Star. Just because the West is so deep and he's going to have to beat out a bunch of guys for it.
Fair.
But I definitely think the pressure's on, no doubt. And then I saw one other question. Blake Johnson, how do you think the top 3 shakes out in the draft? I don't know, man. This draft at the top, you don't want to be drafting at the top in this NBA draft.
Yeah, it's tough. This is I think someone said, like, these are the types of drafts that get people fired.
Yeah. This is like the Anthony Edwards draft, even though he was, the prize of that draft. Who was the guy the Cavs took first? Anthony Bennett.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Was that draft? Maybe.
What?
The Edwards draft?
Not the Bennett draft.
Who was 2 in the Bennett draft?
Kyrie?
No, Kyrie was 1, I thought.
No, I think Bennett was 1.
Anthony Bennett drafted 2013. Oh, he was drafted so long ago.
Yeah. I think that's the Kyrie draft.
Let me look here. 2013 draft. It was Oladipo, Porter, Zeller. Yeah, that draft sucked.
Was Kyrie not in it?
No.
Oh.
Maybe the next year was Kyrie.
Yep.
Anyways, the top 3 of the draft, Kristen Peak has it. Zachary Rishdashay. I think that's how you pronounce that. He's French.
Okay.
6'9".
I'm out on all French bigs.
You're out?
Yeah.
You didn't like the last one that came through?
No, I don't like Gobert.
Alex Sarr, he's a center, Wizards, and then she's got Stephon Castle from UConn at 3, who I just remember from the tournament.
Wow.
But it's a very bad draft up top.
Someone's probably going to get really lucky and get an awesome player at like 6.
Yeah.
And everyone else is going to have a bust.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. RK, thanks for hanging out with me, man.
Yes, sir. This was awesome. Thanks for the invite.
Tiff, thanks for producing. Everybody there in the Toyota chat, thanks for chatting along. As always, we're coming to you from the Toyota Lounge, Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. We'll be back next week with another guest, of course. Talk to you guys then.
And tune into Buffs in like 2 minutes.
We all silly like the mayor.